At 2:17 a.m., radar screens across the Middle East lit up. Missiles were detected, air defenses activated, commanders issued rapid orders. Within minutes, global news headlines began flashing. Tensions between the United States and Iran had escalated dramatically. Strategic sites were struck, and retaliatory launches followed. Emergency diplomatic channels buzzed with urgency. Markets trembled before sunrise. But this moment did not begin overnight. It was decades in the making. For years, diplomatic efforts tried to bridge the divide. Summits, envoys, back-channel talks. Some offered hope, most faltered. And yet the volatility beneath the surface remained, unaddressed and unresolved. The modern tension between the United States and Iran traces back to 1979. The Islamic Revolution overthrew a US-backed government. Diplomatic relations collapsed, sanctions followed, trust eroded. Over decades, conflict simmered in proxy wars, naval standoffs, and economic pressures. In the early 1980s, the Iran-Iraq War drew in regional powers and tested loyalties. For 8 years, the Gulf became a battlefield, threatening oil exports and international shipping. Tanker incidents in the Strait of Hormuz, known as the Tanker War, saw Iranian and Iraqi forces targeting civilian and military vessels indiscriminately, forcing global navies to intervene. Each confrontation deepened mistrust. In 2015, the nuclear agreement, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, promised a brief hope of stability. For a moment, sanctions were eased and diplomatic engagement grew. But key elements of the deal were never fully realized. Within years, political shifts in Washington and Tehran fractured the accord. Subsequent developments undermined the agreement's potential, reopening old wounds and hardening positions on both sides. Suspicion deepened. Iran's leadership spoke of sovereignty and resistance. US officials warned against nuclear escalation. The stage was set for confrontation once more. Iran sits near the Strait of Hormuz, a critical artery for global energy. Nearly 1/5 of the world's oil passes through this narrow channel each day. Any disruption here ripples instantly across global markets, sending shockwaves from Asia to Europe and the Americas. For decades, the United States maintained bases across the region, from Qatar and Kuwait to Bahrain and the UAE, while naval fleets patrolled international waters. The presence of aircraft carriers, destroyers, and air squadrons served as both deterrent and provocation. A single miscalculation, a mistaken launch, a misread signal, a technical malfunction could ignite a wider conflict, drawing neighboring nations into a dangerous spiral with unpredictable results. In recent days, that theoretical collision became reality. Coordinated military strikes targeted key Iranian installations. Official statements described them as necessary for national security. In Tehran, leaders condemned the attacks as unlawful and provocative. Within hours, Iran retaliated with missiles and drone strikes aimed at US positions across the Gulf. Air defenses across the region activated. Military forces entered heightened readiness. What was once simmering tension now became active confrontation. Allies of both sides mobilized logistics, repositioned troops, and prepared for further escalation. In capitals around the world, emergency meetings convened. Intelligence briefings were held in secret. Before dawn in New York, markets reacted. Oil prices surged to multi-year highs. Airlines adjusted routes over the Middle East. Cargo ships rerouted to avoid potential hotspots. Investors across Europe, Asia, and Africa braced for impact as the global economy reacted to the new uncertainty. Governments issued statements urging restraint, calling for calm and dialogue.
The United Nations held emergency sessions, urging all parties to avoid further escalation. Modern conflicts are not confined to borders. Their consequences are immediate and global. In Tokyo, traders watched screens with intense focus. In London, political analysts debated implications for NATO allies. In Lagos and New Delhi, ordinary citizens wondered how rising fuel costs might affect their daily lives. Beyond military strategy, lives hang in uncertainty. Families in the Gulf watch the skies. Soldiers prepare in silence. Civilians brace for disruptions. Children ask questions adults cannot easily answer. For millions, normal life continues amid underlying fear. The fear that a wrong step could plunge entire regions back into war. Moments like these test human resilience. History shows that miscalculations can change history in minutes. In tense regions, fear and hope coexist, fragile and intertwined. In modern conflict, information moves as fast as missiles. Social media platforms amplify every claim and rumor. Videos, some authentic, others misleading, spread rapidly. Governments carefully shape official messaging, seeking to control narratives and maintain public calm. Experts warn that misinformation can escalate fear and misunderstanding, sometimes faster than any military action. In this digital age, verified information becomes as strategic as a missile strike, and rumor can be as destabilizing as an army. While headlines focus on missiles, diplomacy continues quietly. Behind closed doors, international mediators engage in dialogue, seeking pathways to de-escalation. Regional powers from Saudi Arabia to Oman work through back channels, appealing for restraint and negotiation. Even during escalation, lines of communication remain open. Avoiding miscalculation is often as critical as any strike. Military action happens quickly. Diplomacy requires patience and discretion. History is littered with near misses. During the Cold War, misinterpreted signals almost triggered nuclear exchanges. In the 1980s, naval incidents nearly drew the United States and Soviet Union into direct conflict. In recent years, cyber attacks have targeted critical infrastructure, threatening power grids and communication networks, showing how easily modern systems can fail or be exploited, with consequences that could spiral out of control. Each episode underscores how small errors, a misread order, a faulty sensor, a miscommunication can trigger global crises. Today, the stakes are higher than ever. Both sides possess sophisticated military and digital capabilities that could escalate conflict faster than diplomacy can respond. The world watches with bated breath. In city squares and living rooms, people follow each headline, each official statement, each satellite image. The next hours could bring de-escalation, a return to cautious dialogue, or they could bring further escalation, widening the conflict, pulling in more actors, more nations, more lives. Silent negotiations continue behind closed doors. Analysts debate every move, every statement. Every decision holds consequences beyond the region. And for the billions of people watching, the outcome remains uncertain.